Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, June 7th, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been a great day so far. I'm in a good place and excited for a productive session. I was a little tardy to today's session, which is a no-no, so I got to make sure I fix that. I'm just still grappling with some of the same time issues I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks, but I'm definitely improving, and I'll come up with some boundaries for myself there to make sure that that stops. But I'm actually doing pretty well overall, considering where I was last week, so I'm excited about that. I'm feeling like a little different today than I usually do, so I'm just gonna go to work, and I just would encourage you guys like not to focus too much on your feelings and just really try to stick to your commitments for whatever you've scheduled for the day as far as practice time goes. And obviously, some days you're going to feel better than others, and I think it's good to go a little farther on those days when you're feeling good. And I think it's fine to go a little slower or just like try to go do your best wherever you are that day. I mean, that's really the best advice anyone could give anyone about that. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to hit some online classes, going to do some guitar work. I'll update you guys with what's going on there. And then we're going to hit the production front hard as usual and move forward with the second verse of this tune and then tracking some transition parts. So let's get it. All right. Overall, excellent session. I mean, definitely on like the vibe and energy front, it was not great. And I kind of mentioned that earlier in the video. Like, I just, not feeling 110% right now, but I just gave it what I had, man. So I got it on the online class front, moved forward a tiny bit with the Ear Sketch library, just learning about some of the effects you can use, which I think is cool. And they have a bunch of them, like chorus, bandpass filters, delays, reverbs, all that stuff. So I'm excited to tinker around with that when the time's right. Um, and then I got in on my music business class, and the instructor was just talking a little bit about producers and how getting the right producer can really help, especially if you're tracking vocals and your producer happens to be a singer, or if you're tracking guitars and your producer happens to be a guitarist. These are people with just a ton more experience in terms of seeing projects from start to finish, figuring out what succeeds, what doesn't, knowing the genre, knowing the audience in the genre. That kind of stuff can be a huge asset. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to coach basically when you're in the studio, if you want someone to coach you to help you get the best out of yourself, then that's, a great role that a producer could play in a self-produced project. So I'm just gonna plant that seed in the back of my mind. I would love to work with some awesome folks at some point in my career. I don't know what that would look like, and I think I would enjoy producing on other people's records, depending on the situation and the relationship. For now, for this record, I really think I want it to be all about me and my vision and how I want things to go, and I want to get it. I want to go as far as I possibly can on my own before I bring other people in, but that could change. We'll see. And I don't really have too big of a problem like keeping myself on track, so that's good. But yeah, something to think about, and just knowing my options. And then I got in on the harmony class and was reading a little bit more about the minor key, and the most alternating chord progressions are also quite popular in minor keys, apparently, and one of the most popular ones is the one minor chord to the 7 of the key, dominant 7 of the key, which, interestingly, if you're in if you're in the relative major key, that would be from the 6 to the dominant 5, and then back, just going back and forth between those chords. So it's definitely interesting to see how all that stuff relates, and just think a little deeper about why those progressions work, why they're popular, why they sound good, why people gravitate toward them. It's just fascinating, honestly. So that was good, and then got into good guitar practice, just doing some review, moving some chord shapes around the neck, not putting a ton of time into that, but still making sure I'm not going backwards and just going forwards a little bit, small baby steps right now. Took a break, did some reading out of the recording book, was just reading about the 3-to-1 rule when you're spot miking instruments. Like, your mic should be 3 times closer to the spot instrument than any spill source, but the author talks about how that rule just has tons and tons of problems, so it's basically not that practical for consistent professional results, which is interesting. And then got it on the production front and just did a boatload of takes on this transition part. And I listened back to the takes from yesterday, and honestly, I just thought they were trash. I mean, they're not like absolute garbage, but like some of them were, and some of them were. I mean, there just wasn't anything that stood out that was really on par. And I think part of that was I was just recording at too low a level, so it wasn't, energy-wise, it just couldn't compete with the parts that came before it. So that was good. I'm glad I didn't do more takes yesterday, because I often will, coming back to takes, realize that there was a problem with the tracking or the sound or the instrument or like something that I want to adjust to make it better. So that was great. So I boosted the level there, got a much better sound, started tinkering around with like the energy level and how that could work well, and I got into a good groove with that. And I kind of had to force a few takes emotionally, because I just like wasn't feeling it, I just was in a totally different emotional space than like that part of the song is technically supposed to be about. But I did some takes that way, and then I sort of just relaxed and was like, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm just going to put the energy that I'm experiencing, or the vibe that I'm experiencing, for lack of a better word today, into the music, and just channel that and just have that be okay. And if I listen back tomorrow and that sucks, then I'll redo it. I'll redo it when I'm feeling better. But at least I'm being honest. I think that's really important, and like, you never know where that's going to take the track. And I kind of like, I feel like as long as I do that on a section by section basis, it's all good, because then, from section to section, the emotional content can change, and like, if there's that huge high in the chorus, maybe it kind of makes sense to just like bring things down a little bit, have it be a little bit more like softer and like smoother and less like tight and like in your face when you're transitioning back to the verse. And now that I think about it, that actually will probably work well with the message of the song, so with the story of the song. So I'm pretty happy with what I got today. I'll listen back tomorrow and see how it sounds, but I had a lot of different variations and different ideas that I was playing around with, so I'll see what connects, and hopefully there's some gems in there that I can use for the final product. So yeah, and then I had a little extra time, so I worked on the second verse lyrics and started brainstorming some ideas for how to end the song, because honestly, guys, I don't know if I'm into the whole like verse chorus bridge third chorus, like like I'm fine like using that framework, but I would like to create something like deep and interesting and like a real piece of art that maybe stretches the boundaries of that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to just be like a 3-minute pop tune, even though that has its place, and I'm not mad at that type of, like, if it's done well, then I respect it and appreciate it, and I love a lot of music that's like that. But for me personally, like, I don't know if that's what the vibe I want to be putting out. I don't know if that's really true for me. I don't know if that's a real authentic message for me. So just playing around with some ideas, and I like what I came up with, so maybe I'll just roll with that. I'll let you guys know. But anyway, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process as much as possible. That's what I'm out here doing, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Till then.